Hello Squids, this is Squeeby here with another YouTube video. In this video I'm going to be covering swarm intelligence. Now swarm intelligence is a type of AI where you have a whole bunch of agents that work together to they interact with each other. So you have an agent and another agent, say, and they interact with each other to come to an answer. So suppose you have one agent that has an answer to a question, yes or no, and another agent that has another question to an answer. So one agent will ask another agent if what the answer to the question is, and when it gets that answer, it'll change its answer. It'll all make sense when I start making it. So it works. Each agent is called a boid or birdoid, because the swarm intelligence was modeled after the idea of flocking birds. So with that being said, the swarm intelligence has a few functions: align, separate, and I think it's called converge. Where you so align will ask another agent what the answer is and change its answer in our scenario. Separate will make sure that they're not too close together physically. So because we're not doing swarm intelligence with physical swarms, we don't need to worry about separate and converge just yet. So I will make another video where I deal with a little more of a practical application other than just answering a question with the swarm intelligence, where we will use separate and converge. So right now, in my GIST, I have a deprecated method called separate, and we don't need to use that, so we'll get into that later. So let's start off by creating a new class called Boid. So I'm going to be using a hash map because when I was originally making the AI with the GIST, I was going to make it so you can have multiple questions. And whoa, what's going on here? Oh, my bad. I forgot that this isn't Sublime. So let's get started with just creating our general hash map. Private hash map, and it's going to map a string to another string. It's going to be called data list is equal to new hash map string to string, and let's just quickly change this to import. And give me just 1 second. I have my phone set up here where I have the GIST, and I just want to quickly make it such that it doesn't keep closing out. Okay, there we go. So the reason I have the hash map is so in later versions we can have more questions, and it's a lot more dynamic than just hard coding in a question. So or just having a string which is a question and a string which is an answer. So it's generally more dynamic, and I like it more. So, but we need to have so this is just for documentation purposes, the original answer. I want to put this in so that when you run the swarm intelligence, you can see what the original answer is compared to the final answer after the swarm runs. Okay, so why don't we have in a public void modify answer. So this is going to change what the answer to the question is given what the other void says. So this is very important for steering and aligning. So string question string answer, and you're going to go here and you're going to do data list dot put question and answer. Okay, there we go. And of course I just want to have a getter and a setter for public void set original answer, no spelling errors, good, to the string answer, and I'm going to set this dot original answer is going to be equal to answer. There we go. Original organal. That's not how we spell it. There we go. Okay, yep, and then the get it, and then the getter public string get original answer return original answer. Okay, and in the gist I have a deprecated method, but we don't need that. And then I need to have a getter to get the private data list, the private hash map, just so you can ask questions and stuff. And I wonder if I can do this. Yeah, I can do that. So I'm going to put it in because I really want to specify what it does, or what it returns. You don't really need it, but I like it there. It makes me feel nice. Okay, so there we go. Now we have our void or birdoid, which has a method that will modify the answer such that we can ask questions, the original answer for documentation purposes, and the return for what we have. So let's go ahead and make a new class called Swarm. Okay, so this is going to be a bit more code, but it shouldn't be that bad. So we're going to have a I'm actually make it private. I have it public in the gist that I will link in, but that's an accident. Array list void is equal to new array list of voids. Here we go, and let's just import array list. Okay, there we go. So now we have our array list of all our possible voids. So I want to make it kind of dynamic, so you can choose in the test case how many voids you have. Okay, and I just also private string question is equal to new string. Oh, this parentheses is residual from when I was making it a dynamic, so you could have more than one question. I took that out because I was running into problems with having it dynamic in this specific setting. But of course, in other versions of the Swarm Intelligence demo we have here, we will probably add in an option to have more questions. And of course, we need to have our private array list of answers. It's equal to new array list of strings. There we go. And of course, with every getter and setter, we have to have, or sorry, with every private, we have to have getters and we have to have setters. So I'm going to have public void add question. And we don't need to have actually a getter because it's all going to be in this specific class. So no need for a getter, no need for a setter. Or so no need for a getter, we just need setters. String question. We just said this dot question is equal to question. And we need to have public void add answers. Just say this dot answer array list of strings answers. This dot answers equal to answers. Make it plural. There we go. And Now I need to go all the way down to the bottom of my file here on GIST, and we are going to have add Boids. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a random answer to each question in our add Boids method. So, public void add Boids. We're going to have int the amount. So that's going to be the amount of Boids we want to have in. And of course, we just need a for loop int I is equal to 0, I is less than amount I plus plus. Alright, and now what we need to do is have a new Boid. Boid b is equal to new Boid. And okay, and we need to go down by the amount of answers. I don't think we actually need that. I think we could literally just let me just decide something. Set original answer. Nope, because J is never used. So in the GIST, I have a redundant for loop, which actually is bad because it adds it messes with the efficiency of the program. So I, of course, will have to make some modifications to the GIST. And I'll put this code in a separate GIST, and I'll put both GISTs in. So I have one that's heavily documented and one that's going to be from the tutorial. So you'll be able to use that. But I'm also have to go in and change some stuff. So random modder is equal to new random. So it's going to choose a random question, and it's going to set the question of the Boid to that random as question, or that random as answer. So import random from java.util. Int modded is going to be equal to 0 plus modder dot next int answers dot size. And then we're going to go here to do Boid dot modify question. So now we need to modify the question to put in, for the question we have, the answers dot get modded. There we go. So now it's going to, now what's the error here? Add cast to Boid. Hold up. Let's go here. Let's figure out what. Wrong one. Let's figure out what we did wrong. String and Boid dot. That's why. B dot modify question. Now what's the error? String and type Boid. Wait, that is a thing. Oh, because I said it as a modify answer. That's why. There we go, okay. Yeah, I have as modify question in the original GIST. So now we're going to go here, and we're going to do b.set original answer to b answers.get modded. So this way you can see what the original answer was with what the current answer is, and of course we need to add that in. So we're going to do not get modded. Get modded, and we're going to go here and we're just going to do Boid dot add b. There we go. So now we have that, and then we need to add in some other functions, which is going to be the align function. So now we need to go by and we need to ask another Boid what the answer was. So we're going to have a public void align string question and boolean document. So the that is to okay, so the output can get kind of cluttered sometimes. So I'm going to have a boolean for documentation to see if you actually want to say each time a Boyd asks another Boyd something, if you should print that out in the terminal. Okay, so we're going to have random, rand is equal to new random. Okay, so we're going to have two random integers to get a random Boyd and a random answer to, a random Boyd and another random Boyd, sorry. Just two random Boyds to ask what is happening. Okay, so int modded is equal to, oh, I want to change it to modder. Modder dot next int and Boyds dot size. Boyd dot size. I don't like how it's not plural, but I don't really care right now. Modded 2, same thing. Okay. So now what you need to do is you need to do Boyd dot get, and we're going to put in 0 plus modded dot modify answer. The question at hand, which is just, we have one question, is a one question swarm intelligence, and Boyd dot get 0 plus modded dot get answer of the question. And I think that should be modded 2 right here, actually. Dot get answer to the question. And what happened here? What did I call it over here? I think I don't have a thing to get the answer, do I? Okay, so yeah, we need to add that in. This is just, again, for asking purposes, public string get answer. And we're just going to return, and of course you're going to ask what question it is. Return data list dot get question. I forgot it's not JavaScript. Okay, so there we go. Now we have to go here and we get it's all clear. Okay, so now we've done that, we have if you want to document it, and you're going to say some stuff. Now, I'm going to go here to, this is what's going to be in the GIS, is what I'm referencing, and I'm actually going to copy and paste this, because it's kind of a lot to write. Document, and I call it Boyd singular. Okay, so there we go. I just wanted to add that in because it's a lot to write and I don't feel like writing it. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to have a thing that runs, or actually, hold on, let's yeah, so we need to have a thing that runs the actual swarm intelligence for a given amount of iterations. So public void run, and we're going to have a given amount of iterations, so int iterations. Okay, and yeah, you don't need that there. Sorry, hold on. My neck gets a little bit stiff. Okay, so for, oh, and we also need to have a boolean for documentation, because that's going to pass down to the align method. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than iterations, I++. Oh. And in here we're just going to run align the question and document. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now that we've done that, we need to, or actually, why don't we test this out and make sure everything is working just fine. So, exit that out. So I have a little test case here called Java, and why don't we create a swarm s is equal to new swarm. Hold up, what? Sorry, my brain is farting as far as Java goes, is equal to new swarm. Yeah, I do need that. My brain kind of farted there. Okay, so now what we need is we need to have public array list of strings. We're just going to call A is equal to, this is going to be our answers, is equal to new array list. There we go. Here, array list. There we go. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to do a.add, and we're just going to have two answers, yes and no. Of course, the more answers you add in, the more interesting it gets. And we're going to say s.add answers A and s.add question are you okay? Okay, and then after that we just need to do s.run, or sorry, we need to do s.add voids. We're going to make 10 voids, and we're going to do s.run. We're going to run it for 10 iterations, and we are going to document what we find, because otherwise we won't print anything. Okay, so then we're going to go here, and we need to do a new constructor test. Oops. New test. And then if you run it, yep. Oh, whoops. It ran the original test case that I had, so we need to go here and to do, yeah, it's still doing the one I don't want it to do. So let me just go and do run configurations. Let me just tell it which one to do. Browse swarm videos, search for cancel. Just hit apply and run. Go. Main method not found. Public static void main string args. That's why. It was not the main method. That's probably why I couldn't do it. There we go. Okay. So you see 10 voids ran X many times, or ran I think 10 times and got a whole bunch of answers. So there we go, our voids are running. So now what we need to do is we need to make this a little more understandable, a little more readable, as in we need to put in some things that will tell us what happened. So the first thing we should probably do is make a thing that tells us what the final verdict is, or what the final answer is. But before we do that, we need to do something called, we need to make a method called answer stats. So public int answer stats, or basically which answers replied how many times. So we need to have the string, so the specific answer, and we need to say int amount is equal to 0, and we're going to return the amount. And then, in the meantime, here we're going to have a little for loop. And I is equal to 0, I is less than void.size, void.size size I plus plus. You're going to loop through every single Boyd, and you're just going to say if the answer, if Boyd.get I.get answer to the question is equal to the answer, we're going to do mount plus plus. And there you go. That's all you need for answer stats, and we can just actually go ahead and look for the answer stats and see, or in our test case, we can go ahead and do here sys out s dot answer stats for the answer no, and the answer stats for the answer yes. And then let's run that. And you can see that it said it was not okay. Actually, it's true that it said it's not okay 7 times, and it said it was okay 3 times. So, i.e., 7 Boyds said no, 3 Boyds said yes, but I'm going to make that a little more readable. So we have, okay, so that was a nice tie. That was exactly even. That's even again. Yep, so you can see that it was not okay 7 times and okay 3 times. And then, of course, that's always the problem with 10 Boyds, is it does that. But let's do this, and you can see now it has a little bit of a different thing. And let's run that 100 times. So it's 100 Boyds 100 times. And actually make it 50 Boyds 100 times is usually the optimal thing to get a good response. So you can see that it said no 32 times. Or is, yep. There we go. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to come to a final verdict. But before we do that, I want to make a thing that asks all the Boyds what they responded with and tells you what they originally got with the original answer, which is why we had that thing called original answer. And I'm sorry, my neck is in a lot of pain, and it's still recording. Okay, so what we need to do here is we need to go and we need to add in public void ask all Boyds what they got. So, and of course, this is going to be an empty thing, so sys out. And I'm going to have in a bunch of equal signs to sort of separate it from everything else. And we're just going to go by and loop through every single Boyd. Int I is equal to 0, I is less than Boyd.size I plus plus. There we go. And in here, you're just going to do sys out, and you're going to say Boyd plus I plus sed plus, you're going to get the answer, Boyd.get I dot get answer to the question at hand, plus originally said plus Boyd.get I.get original answer. There we go. So that's going to ask every Boyd what they got, and of course we need to end it with saying this. And you'll be able to see very clearly what it did. So you're going to do s.askAllBoyds over here. So see very clearly what each Boyd said and what each Boyd originally said. So you're going to do s.askAllBoyds before you tell us what yes or no is. Actually, let's do it. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Okay, so you can see what all of them said at the end and what they said at the beginning. And you can see the answer stats. Sorry, my brain's a little disorganized today. As it is every day. Alright, so the last thing we need to do is come to a final verdict. So we're going to basically get a max. What answer has the maximum value? What is the maximum stat? So we're just going to have a thing called public string final verdict And we're going to say here, let me just make sure we're still recording. We're still recording. I'm getting a little paranoid about that. Sorry. So we're going to go here, and of course we're going to start by we're going to have return just an empty string. Oh no, sorry. Well, for now we're going to do that, but we're going to have a string called verdict is going to be equal. So this is going to be the final verdict string, and here's just say verdict. Go here, and we're going to do. We also have to have an int for the maximum stat, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to loop through every answer, and we're going to find the stat. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than answers dot size, and it's going to be I++. Go here, we're going to do if. I should make this full again. It's full screen. There we go. That's a little more readable. If answer stats of answers dot get I is greater than maximum, and you're going to set maximum equal to answer stats of answers dot get I, and you're also going to set the verdict to answers dot get I. There you're going to find the maximum, the most commonly said answer between all the voids, and they're going to go over here and just going to do you're just going to sys out final verdict in the run method. So here we're just going to copy this over. Oh, my back really hurts. Final verdict. Actually, wait, no. So just say what the question was. So when we do multiple questions, we can have that in. And the swarm said final verdict. There we go. So now when we run this, we should get what the final verdict is after all the voids say what they want. It's up here. Okay. Are you okay, Swarm? Yes. So there we go. Now we have a swarm intelligence. And you can see over here all the voids asking each other what they did. So, thank you all for watching. I'm sorry for the strange video. And I should probably go by and explain what I did, because I didn't do a very good job doing that. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory. And I will put a gist in the description that is properly documented, and you can actually read that and determine what it is. And that'll be a good learning experience, because I don't explain very well. But there you go. You had a nice walkthrough of coding in a swarm intelligence. So thank you all for watching again. Please like, subscribe, all that stuff, and I will see you in a later video. Au revoir.